It's been a minute. Welcome into the Fantasy Football Lab. I'm Arlen. This is Nate. How you doing, Nate?
Doing great, man. Yeah, it has been a minute. I kind of forgot what you looked and sounded like. So this is it's gonna be a getting to know you sort of situation again. But
Better or
it's
worse than you
appropriate because
remember?
so far so good, but we'll see how we feel as we get into the discussion
Sure.
we're getting into today. But
Yeah,
maybe
yeah,
it's the right time to reintroduce as we're kicking off, jumping into
yeah.
the 2025 season.
Yeah, and this is like the fun time where Dynasty is still relevant, but it's like we were talking before we hit record of how, for myself, when I start thinking about within the next couple weeks the redraft, and I have to like really train my brain to. I've been thinking about Dynasty all off season. The values of
Yep.
these people are different in redraft, and I tier up people a little too much, and I tier down people a little too much when based on age or like longevity or the known commodity versus unknown, and the exciting new could be something big, but we don't know yet, and I need to temper those expectations and kind of reevaluate. So today's going to be fun because that's the theme of it. We're focusing on running backs. We've done rankings with running backs before, but I always enjoy when people do these tiered. So that's how I draft these tiered rankings. Because a lot of times your one, two, three might all be about the same, and you could take either of them. So we're going to focus on running backs and do a tiered ranking on Dynasty, and then we'll split it too, but we'll also do that for our we'll take that ranking and that tier and then kind of adjust to what would we change going into redraft, so that thought process is also, honestly, it's more for me so I can get that thought process going and kicked off, and start going into this like redraft format. But that's what we got going on today, and then we'll be doing some wide receiver, other positions as well. The same, if it's fun, it works. Then we'll do it for some other positions as well.
Yeah. Do we ever do these conversations without some level of selfish thought process going behind it, whether we're talking through trades, whether we're talking through rankings, like how we need to
Whether
think
I'm trying
about
to make
what's
you pick
coming up soon.
Odunze over Neighbors.
Yeah, something like that. That's going to pay off this year. I called it during the draft last year. Year two is what I was drafting him for. Here
Honestly,
we
I
go.
wish you didn't believe that, because I would like to send more and more and more offers to you and have fewer of them rejected for Odunze. If you have some ideas right now, we can go through it. I'm happy to trade for Odunze. I think it's worth the risk, but there is a new wide receiver in town, Luther Burden. So, and didn't Loveland go there too? So of there's a lot of
There's a
people
lot of
there
mouths to feed out there. Yep, there's a lot of mouths
to
to feed
make
over
it
there.
work. Are you starting to get worried? This total sidetrack, but are you starting to get worried about the possibility of Odunze? And we were just talking about this with a trade that we won't get into in our league, where Waddle was. Odunze is starting to remind me of Waddle, but he didn't have that superstar first year where you're like, oh, this is the guy. But it's the guy that you can see the talents there. He's great, and the situation keeps not allowing it to break through, and you're not really quite sure when or if it's going to break to that top tier, not skill wise, but just situation. He's starting to remind me of Waddle.
I think Waddle's situation was like categorically different though, because he did have that like lights out year. His quarterback play has been like when it's there, it's awesome. And then, but he keeps having to deal with it not being there. He didn't get thrown so many crazy weapons other than the running back situations over in Miami that Odin's is having to deal with. There's so many pass catchers now in Chicago that I want to shoot myself in the foot sometimes, but I'm just trusting the process,
Yeah.
and believing that he's going to be okay. It's too early to be worried, so I'm not worried. I do know, and the reason why you do get rejected on every trade, that he's not right now, like he's not, his value is
Yeah.
nowhere near what it could be. So I
Yeah.
wouldn't trade him at what he's selling for right now. So I'm
Yeah.
going to hold on.
Yeah. I think he's a hold right now. I have the same at
Yeah.
a smaller scale because it's not comparable level, but I feel the same way with Tillman. Again, not a comparable level. He's not the one, but I feel I like him more than where I think what I think people will pay for him. And I think that soon the value will go up on him. And if I were to trade him, I would be losing money ish value
Right.
right now if I made that move now. Again, if you want Tillman for a Doomsday, for sure. But different levels and
We're not even speaking
different
the same
tiers.
language right now.
Yeah, yeah.
With
All
Tillman,
right.
though, you're looking at someone that Tillman could have another high, though, where you could probably sell really high before he falls off. But I don't think Tillman's ever going to get to
No,
the guy level, right? So you're never going to have that. And, it's fun when it's Jameis Winston throwing to him. I don't know. We don't know what the heck what are you guys even doing right now? Like, what is happening? Who's throwing that ball to him?
I think we're going to replace the linemen with all of our quarterbacks. We have enough.
Perfect. Yeah.
And
Okay.
yeah,
That
we have
makes
enough.
sense.
We don't
I
know
see it.
who's going to drop back. Obviously, the center is Deshaun Watson, so that he gets pummeled. And the saga never ends. The saga never ends with the Browns. All right, let's get into our tiers. But first, a word from our intro.
Welcome to the Fantasy Football Lab.
I missed that sound.
Yeah, we need to extend out the music a little bit. I feel like a dance break is necessary every once in a while around here.
Yeah, I should do a long version, and then I should also switch like every time you text me, then it's going to just be that sound. Dun, dun, dun. All right, so we're gonna share. I'm gonna share my screen. We're gonna go through this tier system. How we're gonna do is I'm gonna go with my tiers and kind of build out little by little. I haven't like set them to gospel yet, but I'll go through them, and then as you find some differences, some things that you want to talk about, we can expand on that and talk a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So tier one is or tier S is pretty obvious. We've got Bijan. I don't think there's any
Hmm.
argument there for me. He's the number one running back in Dynasty. I think for most people he is. Um, there's a I'm gonna put Gibbs in here as well. I think he's a tier one. Like that's these are the running backs in my eyes. Like there's nothing that touches top S tier wide receivers. Depending on your build and what you need, these guys start touching
Yep.
it, and you can see like the biggest thing with running back is always that drop off. Are they going to get that second contract, and are they going to be successful through that? Are they going to be like a Henry or a Barkley where they have a longer career and it's worth it and it doesn't matter that they're almost more valuable if you can actually see that than the top wide receiver, because if that longevity is there, that's the only downside of it. And Gibbs and Bijan feel like those that definitely have the potential to go longer than that standard and well into a second contract, and that really sets them apart, I think.
Yeah, I like that. I agree with you wholeheartedly there. If you had to add a third, because it doesn't sound like you have a third in this tier, but if you had to add a third here, are you closer to adding someone that's proven like Saquon that's got some years left? And so in Dynasty, if you get like, are you thinking
Mm.
about it in the 2 to 3 year tier, or are you going to go with someone unproven like Jeanty that you would put in? Like, would you prefer a rookie here, or would you put someone that's like a proven veteran that you know is a hasn't proven otherwise that they're going to disappear anytime soon?
I think this is another place where it differs from running back, where I am more okay putting younger players in because you know more about the running. Like usually the studs are the studs going into the NFL from college on like the superstar. When they say generational, they can say
Yeah, yeah.
generational about Jeanty and be pretty confident that he's generational and is going to have an impact right away. But then like what what was the the Patriots like wide receiver, something with the N. I want to say Najee Harris, but obviously that's the running back. But it had that same Nakeem. I'll have to look it up.
Nikhil
But he was
Harry? No,
Nikhil
no.
Harry. Yeah, he was like
Yeah.
he was supposed to be like a top. He might have been 101 in a lot of leagues, and that was one of the wide receivers that were generational. And to put him in tier S, that's scary because you could end up with something like that. It happens less with running back. I think it's more of an adjustment for wide receiver. So that being said, I
Yeah.
actually do have Jeanty, which
Okay.
it pains me to say because I actually am up in my screen. I wanted to talk to you first and see if you'll do Henry and a first and second for Jeanty, but I'm guessing you probably have him in a similar tier and will not entertain this.
So this is my exact S tier that you have up there. I thought you were done at the two, so that's why I asked about it. But I do have Genty and Rob, and look at that. Genty and Robinson both are on my dynasty team.
Yeah,
So fun times had by all. Uh, my expectation and my hope is that long term, these two will be the Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley of the last couple years in a few years. Like
Yeah.
they'll be there, they're solid. So it's going to take a little bit more um, to get Jeanty out of my hands. But I've
Yeah.
always said no one's untouchable.
Of course, yeah. So when you're looking at this and you have Jeanty and Bijan, let's not tarp too long on these guys, but I do have the question because I mentioned these are the ones where you go, maybe I would trade a top wide receiver for these guys. Where does it stop in the line of your top wide receivers in your mind for Dynasty where you would not trade them to, or yeah, where does it stop where you, maybe it's like, yeah, where would it stop where you wouldn't do it? So what's the first wide receiver that you probably would say, all right, I'll trade so-and-so for Bijan or Jeanty?
Like 1-for-1 straight up.
Yeah.
Okay, so obviously the top two are in conversation, right? So it'd be Jamar Chase, Jefferson, always going to be in the conversation there. CD Lamb is
Would you
someone I'd still
consider
consider.
trading Chase or Jefferson for Jeanty or Robinson if you had the wide receivers?
In a vacuum, I would consider that trade. Because in a 3-year cycle, I think I've still got 3 years with Jamar Chase. Um, but with how my team is set up, I think I've got a great lineup of wide receivers that I'm not really trying to trade for a top tier guy right now. If
Okay.
anything, I'm trading for volume, right? So because
Yeah.
I'm not crying over here with Puka Nakua and Amon-Ra St. Brown and Lad McConkey,
Yeah.
and Adunze, who I'm going to say his name over and over again just to speak life into that name.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I'm
Good
not
plan.
super worried about that trade, but yeah.
All right.
But in a silo, I would. Like, would you do that? Like, if you had one of these tier S guys, are you trading for a tier S wide receiver?
Yeah, well, so I'm on the other end because I do have Chase, and I have good wide receivers, neighbors, and stuff. I don't think I would trade Chase. I wouldn't trade Chase for one of these guys. I think if you're looking at like it's hard for me even with neighbors and BTJ, another like tier I have, to say, yeah, I'll trade them. I would do a superstar that should still be a superstar, but we like with more uncertainty, like I have Marvin Harrison Jr. and I would say, okay,
Hmm.
I would make that trade. But I think like the first four top ranked wide receivers, I probably wouldn't trade for a running back even of that caliber. And I definitely wouldn't do Chase. I think Bijan is like the closest there. I think
Yeah.
he's got the best chance at being something special. And Jeanty, I don't know yet, but I know enough to put him in this tier, but not to give up
So
a
what you're saying,
known commodity.
so what you're saying is you would not do a straight up Bijan for Jamar
I
trade.
like how we're having a trade right now conversation, and we both wouldn't do it. We're just having the we won't do this trade conversation. So I think that's perfect. All right. So next tier. Next tier instantly gets tougher. I will say
Yep.
that in this tier, I'll throw in like the first one I'll throw in, and this is not in order of the players, but um, I think that this is where if I can find him, oh, he's probably up here. I'm looking for Barkley. I would put.
For some
Is
reason, I
he
still
in?
have him in a giant. Yeah, he's in a Giants jersey in row 3.
This is from the last year stuff, yeah. So I just borrowed a
Yeah.
last year one. So I would do this in here. I wouldn't put him in the S tier because that time is I traded him away this year for Hampton, which I don't have honestly I don't know if I have him in the A tier Hampton, but I traded him away because my thought is historically running backs who do that much volume the next year take a dip, and then if I take a dip this and don't get that same level of production or like close to that, or he gets injured, then he's not gonna get me as much as I was able to get. So for Barkley, I think that I think back to what you say of the 3 year. I think I could get 3 years. I think you could get 3 years out of Saquon here, but you
Yeah.
and I differ slightly. And I was thinking about this over the weekend of like we differ slightly because you want the 3 years of production, and I trade so much that I want the 3 years of production ending where they still have peak value, and then I'll move on. So I can't say you have 3 years left. I can say like you have 3 years left, and when that's done, you're going to have about the same value as you would do right now. And so that's why AJ Brown I kind of traded away last year. Saquon Barkley I feel like could dip in value. I want to be able to still get something from it because I usually don't have draft picks. I need to like gain it from those trades.
Understood. Yeah, that makes sense. He's plus you got to remember, as cliche as it is, he is on the Madden covers, so we don't know what that's going to happen this year.
Fair. I'm it's the Madden, the MVP, the offensive rookie or offensive MVP. Like all of those are the curses, and they really all point to the same thing, which is they were overused,
right?
And that's the real curse. You're beat down, you're overused, and can that really continue?
The touch count,
I mean, some of it could be made up. Like every year, it's getting closer that the tush push is banned, and if it's banned, Barkley gets a little boost. And some of that might be made up towards that last year or two of his career.
I missed that. Is that still under contention? The tush push getting banned, or are you just saying that
it's not for this year, but every year it's like a little bit closer.
Yeah.
So at some point they're gonna be punks and block it. In this tier, I'm having a hard time honestly with this tier. I think Christian McCaffrey is slightly too old. To be put in this tier. He's close, because what we're looking at is not just like the length of what they have left, but a mix of that and are you trying to win now? Where like a Henry is too old, McCaffrey is too old to like have it all be all about can you win right now. But I kind of said I wouldn't do it, but I think it's actually warranted. Where I'm gonna put Hampton in. I'm going to put Hampton in this. He's enough of a talent where
he's in. Yep.
Yeah, he's enough of a talent. He can do it and go for a long time. He just has to that beginning. If Najee Harris wasn't there, I wouldn't feel any weirdness about putting him in this category. So I think he actually is. I'm not going to do it like this, even though it's not in order. I kind of want to like switch them because I did trade that guy for that guy.
Yeah, I was gonna fight you on it. What if you said you weren't gonna do it, but since you did it, you convinced yourself. But yeah, I have Hampton in my firmly in my A tier. I think like we've talked about him before. I'm not gonna hammer this home, but he in any other draft year would have been the number one running back off the board. He has first round capital from this year.
Yeah.
And they have a running back now in LA. That matches the scheme and style of running that they want to do or that Harbaugh wants to do down there. So I'd look for that a lot more. And he's the right guy to do it. Dude, the Speedy has power and we don't have the Chargers don't have a single running back under 220 pounds. We know the style of running they want to do. So it'll look good. So I think he's going to be solid up there. A tier, no problem. We might be talking about him as an S tier guy next year.
Yeah, and I mean, in that same light, I think Henderson is close, but I think that there's there's bigger problems there for him, so I think I wouldn't put him in this tier. There's, I think there's like two others that could be considered here. I think I'm only gonna, I think both might come in. I think Achane is fair to put in this spot as well. He performs really well. He's tied to Tua though, because it's a lot of dump offs and short stuff, and then he takes it for a while.
Yeah.
And there's not real competition that scares me over there. So I think that he can continue what he's doing. I wouldn't argue against putting it in B, and this is probably somewhere where I'd be okay with like talking about a little bit more. But I'm gonna put one more name up here and then see if either of these guys. Kind of on the fence between the two being up here. Would you move either of these guys or both to B? And A might just be a tight tier.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of depends. I actually had 6 names I was toying around with in A and moving up and down and not sure what I was going to do with them. But Achane is someone that we've waffled on, I feel like every year. We always say he's got the widest possible results of what can happen, like where he can end up at the end of the year.
Yeah.
And so I was waffling him, but he hasn't done anything wrong to prove to us that he's going to be a B or C. So I think it makes sense for him to be up in the A tier. Bucky Irving's proven that he can do it. He's still young enough to matter, and has a lot like plenty of years ago ahead of him. So I think Bucky Irving's the right call there. I wouldn't move either of them down. Where I waffled a little bit, and maybe you're going to answer this next. What are you doing with Breece Hall right now?
Would you trade Breece? Would you trade any of these guys for Breece Hall?
Straight up.
Yeah.
No. So yeah. So no, I have him behind
Yeah.
all seven of these guys, or I can count seven of these guys. But he's my next. Him, Jonathan Taylor, Kyren, they all kind of make up my next batch of guys. Um, and it's like, what are we defining an A tier versus a B tier player as?
Well, so a lot of it will come from, for me, it's a lot of it is like not only the level of impact that they can have, but the certainty for their
Mm-hmm.
their next few years. So for Barkley, I'm still like, I mean, the output is obviously there. He's one of the best, if not the best, running back in the league, and he could go for a few more years. And I think it's fair to put him in here. Amari Hampton's such a prospect. You're right; he would have been number one in a lot of different years. And then Achane and Bucky, they produced really well, and Achane for 2 years straight. Bucky, the knock on him, which I'm forgiving, is like most of the time he's an outlier in like when somebody is drafted past the second or third round, then
Mm-hmm.
it's tough to trust that they're not going to replace him, like the James Robinson being replaced. And even though he was like 92% or 99% some games of their carries, and he produced with it, but at the same time, the investment's not there. But Bucky Irvin, I think, transcended that, but that's still in the back of my mind as a slight concern. But if somebody performed anything less than Bucky Irvin did and had the same draft capital, I couldn't put him in tier A. So it's a combination of all those that I'm thinking, where like the next closest to me in maybe I want to hear your other ones too. The closest for me, like Chase Brown's in this conversation for me of like I'm not sure if they're going to lose the job or not. Kyren Williams is
Mm-hmm.
B because of the uncertainty of the contract, but if he signed, I might put him in tier A. I think he's like the AJ Brown of running backs, where he is not. He performs, he does great. He's obviously a great player, and yet he's just not sexy for some reason that I can't figure out. People aren't interested in that player. What were the players that you were considering putting here? It sounds like Bucky was
So it
one of
was,
them you were considering.
yeah. So Bucky was one. Kyron was another they just brought up. And then Brees Hall. So I didn't know what to do with him other than um, just his touch share is going to be great. I don't know how they're going to do the split, and so that's what drops him down for me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, otherwise these four are the four that I had up there. Um,
All right.
for
Well,
B, and then B tier kind of loads up. We got like a ton of people. The way I looked at B, I don't know how you did it, but this was kind of my like, all right, these are like the Christian McCaffreys, Derrick Henrys, guys with that uncertain future, but still have a ton
yeah,
of points to put on the board. Like,
B is pretty large, so let's
yeah,
get. Henry's not there for me. He's close, but for me, I've got Kyren here.
okay.
I could see him outperforming a lot of the people above him in this year, and for a couple of years being. I think it's safe to say he's top like 8 for a couple of years. He just got to sign that contract and like lock it down. But there's just the reason why there's this unsexy appeal probably for him is he's got that Bucky Irvin thing where it's and Bucky Irvin might have this in his career later on where it haunts us in our minds of like how we're excited the first year, like Kyren, we were excited the first year, but then it kind of like dwindled and we were always afraid of them replacing. So I have him. I've got I think I'm willing to talk about this one. I've got Chase Brown in here
Okay.
as well. Walker, if he can stay healthy. But I have him in here. And
Big if, bro.
What's that? If he could, I know,
It's a big
but when
if,
he's,
yeah.
yeah, and I would be willing to push him down one because of the injury concerns. Christian McCaffrey, I think, could be in here. I'm not. If you feel like he is, I wouldn't argue with that. I would put him in here. Brees Hall, yeah, I could put him in here. I'll throw a couple more in here, and we can kind of talk about it once they're in here. I think Trey Henderson, this is about as far as you can go without putting him in there. Yeah, I'll put McCaffrey in here. And then we can split this one if we feel like we need to. Is there anyone else that you would consider that we should talk about in being in B tier?
How much further down are you going to put? I mean, I guess we can get there when we get there, but other folks, other names that was considering or would consider here is James Cook is still out there. We still haven't talked about um, you said Derrick Henry is lower for you. B and C is like a really mixed bag because the differentiator between the two groups is so huge. So the way I approached it is this is where I put a lot of the veterans that I believe still have a couple years at least of points, but we don't know what's going to happen to them after that. So I did have Derrick Henry here. I did have Josh Jacobs here. But my B list is insanely long.
Yeah, so it might need to like be. So I have
Whittle
like
down. Yeah.
yeah, and I'm putting like the Josh Jacobs. I still think they're like, are they might have the same length left as McCaffrey, but are they going to produce anything like him? So I there's as much risk with Jacobs as McCaffrey for me. Actually, how old is Jacobs? I'm not.
Jacobs is 27. So he's younger than McCaffrey by a couple years.
Jonathan Taylor should be in this list. So Josh Jacobs, I think, is that 27 is about the drop off, and I don't think he has the same
Yeah.
production. Jonathan Taylor is in here. I like him. I think that he could. I think he could do something pretty aggressive. He's 26 and a half. So he could drop off, but he could get that contract. He's just such a great running back that I like the talent alone. I think, even though it's been a rough couple of years, I think the talent alone could do it. So I got Jonathan, Kyren, Chase, Brown, Walker. Is there anyone in here that's up here now that you wouldn't have in this top tier?
No, the only one that I would even like, yeah, I think you're right. This is probably as low as you can go without including Henderson. I had him one tier lower, but you're with where we have him. I don't think Ramondre's going away, but I don't think obviously Trayvon's going to be the number one. So
His
we'll be all
contract's
right
not going
here.
to let him go away either. He got a decent bag, and I think this year alone it's like 25 million to cut him. It's so I think he's got that competition there, and I don't think
Yeah,
I don't see Stevenson being like. I actually like him in redraft as like a late round grab because I think
flyer.
he's going to be
Yeah,
more
yeah.
involved than people think. Um, okay, so I I almost want to pull Brees down one more. Let's ask the question: are there any of these players that you would trade away to get Brees Hall that are in the same tier as him?
Maybe Chase. No, I think. I mean, that's a tough. I think that question makes more sense when you're looking um, cross
From
tiers, right? Because like if
yeah,
you ask the same question, like would you trade anyone from Brees Hall, but would you trade Brees Hall away to go get Christian McCaffrey right now? Um, like I think the
yeah.
question
So
works in both
that's one of those
directions, right? So
dependency.
like,
Like
yeah,
I think I think I would not actually. So maybe, and I would. I mean, I would trade McCaffrey away to get Brees Hall. Probably, I would do the same thing with Walker. So maybe that's what this tier is. And then maybe within the same tier we can add Henry because I also wouldn't trade away Henry or Brees Hall to get Henry, but I would be
right.
excited if someone sent that the opposite direction. But I think this year, um, I think every year that Henry and McCaffrey are in, they're going to probably do better. So maybe that's kind of the tier where like injury concerns, old men, and the wrong level combination of like you can produce, but it might not be producing for long, like a Josh Jacobs.
Is this also where you would be putting James Cook?
Yeah, it is. So the reason is like he had
Hmm.
he had 18 touchdowns last year,
Yeah.
and and what did I got to look at his ranking, but he wasn't the number one running back. You have 18 touchdowns, and the year before that you had two, and that was your highest. It was two touchdowns in a season, and then you went to 18. Like something doesn't add up. It's the uncertainty for me. I don't know what the true story is with him. There's no one in tier B that I would trade away to get James Cook personally.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm with you there. I'm with the James
That
Cook
thought process, sure. Yeah.
process. Yeah.
All right. So in this one, I don't know if there's there is somebody that I didn't really want to talk about too much, but I would put Judkins in this category. I'm a little mad at him. Actually, you can't even see my whole image right now, but I'm going to switch my picture to where there's bars over his picture. I actually used his mugshot for the picture for this because I'm that mad at what an idiot he is. As a Browns fan, especially, like we were just leaving the cloud of the other monster, and now we get this guy. All right, so I would put Judkins in this though. Purely dynasty, no morals connected. I think that there's more risk now than Henderson in general because he's going to miss training camp a significant portion of the year. There's another running back that's a rookie there. Plus you have Ford, and how much bullshit do they want to deal with? When does he pick up and become the guy after this start? So I think there's just as much risk there. I'm going to put, but he's on a bad team that I don't know the future of our team. So before I liked him, I would have probably put him at the top of tier B because we know how to use that type of running back, the Browns.
Hmm.
But with this, I don't know if it's emotional or not, but I'm putting him in tier C as a punishment.
Doesn't feel emotional at all.
Okay, it is obviously.
I don't disagree.
But do you disagree?
No, I agree with you 100%. That's
Yeah.
but it's just fun to listen to you talk about him.
Yeah. Yeah. Would you put him any lower or higher? Or is this exactly where?
I mean, now I'm nervous about personality issues or like just character issues a little bit. So I would put him here. I might have had him wherever we have Henderson, but B, I think this is right. I think four is right. He's unproven. He's not like a lock it down guy like we have with like Jeanty and Hampton. There was no question the all of the scouting reports and everything on them. Like they're going to be the guys. You know, with what you got going on in Cleveland, all the question marks that you have out there. I wouldn't put him any higher than this.
Let's talk about Jacksonville.
I don't want to.
Yeah. I noticed that you listed off Bijan and Jeanty so proudly, but you didn't list off your other running back, ETN, which, oh my God, if he was what he was supposed to be and you had all that. I mean, I guess, yeah. I mean, yeesh. Okay. So we got Tootin. And I actually don't even have Tank on here, but that's one that I don't think we need to have him on here. Tootin's a question because it's an unknown. ETN,
Right.
I think, is higher than he feels like he is right now. But how much? But it's also obvious that I don't think he's a long-term thing, and I don't think he's good enough to get a second good contract. So
Yeah.
where does he fall? Where do they fall for you? Do they fall in this tier or lower? I got one
So
more
he's
other
going to
than them
fall.
that I think is in this tier.
Yeah. So he's falling one lower for me only because of what you just said. There's no long-term story here, right? There's unless he goes out this year and proves he's the guy, and that they've already spent for potential replacements or a committee plan long term, right?
Mm-hmm.
So either way, that's not a good look for him. So it sucks because he is a star, possible like he has that capability to be the guy. But Jacksonville has this like rotating mentality of running backs, um, with how they flow through. So, like, i.e., James Robinson, i.e., like looking back at
Yeah.
all the players that have gone through, right? So,
Hmm.
um, they're not going to invest hardcore into a running back. I don't think he gets that second contract. So here's to me hoping he lands somewhere where he's put back on display and used the way he could be, because I think he is a talent and should be higher on this board. But no, he's one tier lower for me.
Okay. I have the last player I have in this tier is Caleb Johnson. I think I agree with you. I want to hear your opinions. I was kind of teetering with ETN here, but I think I'm with you. I think talent with a lot of question marks or known age issues with talent are going to be this one here, or just full on prospect. So, would you have Caleb Johnson in C as well? I think he's a pretty great possibility.
He's got, yeah, I think he's in the right situation out there. They're going to be using him 100%. So it's just a matter of like how it shakes out. If he looks
Yeah.
exactly how he's supposed to look, then I think he's solidly going to be someone you can depend on. But we don't know for how long. So I think C is the correct answer here.
Okay. This is where some like we talked about age. I'm going to put Mixon in here too because he can contribute. But he felt he was. You could see in the second half of last year that he lost momentum because he's old and he can't do that for a whole
Mhm.
season. So every year from now, I think is going to be a portion of the season that you're happy with. But if you're a competitor, that might be just the right side of the season that he does contribute to your team. So he does it enough when he's good that and on it and healthy that I think he's here. But not much longer will he be doing it. So I like Mixon here. And then
How about the king of not being sexy, Mr. James Conner?
Uh, yeah, I mean, I don't hate it, but he's got Benson right behind him, and I don't think Benson's like pushing him out of the way, but like you only need a couple excuses to give Benson the rock more. So I don't think that I think Arizona loves Connor, and they would keep going with him for another year or two. But I don't. Am I? Maybe I'm misremembering him. I know that he's not sexy, but he does a lot and he
He
produces a
can't
lot
art
somehow.
his volume is always insane. Benson didn't do enough last year, I feel like, to naturally push him out. I would almost put the two of them in the same tier. Um,
Mixon
but
and
that's what
Connor.
that yeah no, Connor and Benson.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, that's what the D tier is, right? Like, it's not
But
sexy, gonna get you
I,
points, and
I
but you're not
wouldn't.
sure.
I wouldn't trade either of these guys for Connor. Let's hold on that. Let's put a few more guys, and if you can tell me somebody that we agree is in D that you would trade to get Connor, we can put him in.
Okay.
Tootin. I think that's probably the next tier, right?
Yeah, that's early for me. Um, are you putting
Harvey. I would probably put Harvey in this one.
okay, okay, yeah, yeah, I'm with you. I'll buy that.
I think he would be. I would be super confident in him being here, teetering on C if Dobbins didn't jump in. But I think even with that, they seem to really like him. I think D is the right spot for him.
Judkins.
I know, ruined everything. But Eli has him, and he's in my division, so I am fine with that. And he chose him over Caleb Johnson. All right, so next one here, we got. I mean, we could put Kamara. I don't like it. Charbonnet is a possibility as well. Um, the other names, Pacheco is a possibility here, depending on how he bounces
Okay.
back. Montgomery. So these are all names that I'm okay with putting here. Are there any ones that you feel like really should be in here? Oh, Pollard probably, huh?
Yeah, but Tennessee, yeah. Pollard's in there. I mean, I'd probably put Kamar in there. Um, just because, like, I'd trade Kamara for Joe Mixon right now, potentially.
Yeah, you trade him, but would you trade Joe Mixon for Kamara? That's the question.
I meant to say that in reverse. That's
Okay.
actually what I meant.
Okay, cool. 'Cause
Like,
that makes sense.
I understand the game, dude.
I was like, I'd trade Tajay Spears for Kamara. Okay. All right, let's
Fair
see.
enough.
Okay, I can get down with that. I think James Conner is becoming a little closer for me to be in this tier. Pacheco, where is he? Is he in D or E? I feel like he's got to be in here.
I feel like
Maybe
he
not.
should be, but I don't feel great about it, to be honest. Like it's not. Um, because if we're like these are the guys, if you're just talking about your team today, these guys we're talking about as an RB3-4, right? Like that's in a dynasty team, right? Like if you're still rocking Alvin Kamara as your RB1 on your dynasty team, then we're living in whatever 2015 or something. Um,
Mm-hmm.
that was way too old. But
Yeah.
with that in mind, like I would want James Conner over Pacheco on my as my RB3 spot. You know what I mean? Like,
Okay.
do I have like a weird man crush with James Conner? Is that a thing? Like, I
He's
don't know.
30 years old.
Oh,
So like he could do this for how much long? I mean, I think it's about done. If he was the same guy but 28, I would say okay. But I could see a sharp decline. I don't see him as a top guy that can hold on for much longer. Yeah, that made you want him down. I could see it in your face.
try to act like you read me. I was trying to think of a water bet that we could tie to that. Except you haven't paid out
Oh.
your last water
Oh,
bill.
I know. I keep forgetting. I keep planning. I'm like, you know what the problem is? I went to Vegas. I was like, I'm going to do it on the Strip. I went to Nashville. I was like, I'm going to do it in Nashville. And I went camping. I was like, oh, I'm going to go like find some random camper and do it. And I keep thinking too big where I just need to go out and get it done. So I'm going to go out and get it done and stop trying to plan it in a cool way. Because by the time I'm there, I forget. And then I get back.
Yep.
I'm like, oh, dang, what's the next cool thing I'm doing? All right, I'll pay it out. And okay. I feel bad now, but yes. Okay, James Conner there. Tyrone Chase Jr. Oh, you don't think so? You wanted to do a bet. I feel like you do like him in E.
What's that?
I think you like him in E. What am I reading you wrong here?
Let's read the rest. Give me the rest of E,
Okay.
because maybe he's the top of E, and that's
In
fine.
consideration for E, or not in consideration for E for sure. Tyrone at least would be there. He could be higher if it wasn't for Scattaboo, which I really do like. So I'm gonna actually put Scattaboo.
I
I think
like
he should be.
Scattaboo for dynasty purposes. I like Scattaboo over Tracy. Like,
Oh, okay.
that's where I'm at.
Okay.
Same.
Yeah.
I'm okay with the same tier, but that's
Yeah.
if we're gonna go one heads up, I'd take Scattaboo over the other.
Yeah. Okay. I think Brian Robinson could be an E as well. He's going to contribute. Najee Harris, maybe.
We
I
still have,
think
so we're talking
David
about like
Montgomery.
second. We're talking about second and third running backs on teams. We still haven't talked about Aaron Jones.
Hubbard might
Suba,
want
I
to be
think,
up
is
here.
up one. Yeah, Chuba's up one.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's.
Do you think Aaron Jones is up here?
How old is he now?
31.
He's the same age as Connor, so they're both 30. Um,
Yeah. I could argue Swift and Benson. I feel like we're dumping everyone here.
yeah, there's some people that either we need to move a couple people up a couple.
I think everyone here that's left is off my radar, honestly. You could maybe do Stevenson
Stevenson,
here,
I
but
think, should be on the board.
okay. I don't think anyone else needs to
Um,
be on the board.
you're not worried about Blake Corum anymore?
No, never was I. All right. All right, so yeah, we need to move some people up. I think Pacheco is for my vote. I think you're right. Connor can go up. Montgomery, maybe.
I think Montgomery I think you have
has
to move him up. I think he's Wait, I'm having like a crazy brain fart. What is the running back room in Dallas right now?
It's funny. I had the same thought earlier where I forgot to look it up because I'm pretty embarrassed that I feel like
It's
didn't
Javonte
Dowdle move on?
Williams.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
Dowdle moved on. So it's Javonte Williams. He has to be on the board. You can't have
Does
a
he?
RB1 not on the board
Is he the
unless you're worried about
RB1?
Miles Sanders. It's Javonte Williams, Jaden Blue, Miles Sanders.
Yeah. Right.
Javonte Williams is gonna be on. He's only 25.
Yeah, but okay. I'll put him on there. I'm looking at the other. You said Sanders, and then anybody else that's of interest.
Are we done?
Nope.
I'm done with the rest of these guys. Wait, Charbonnet's on the book.
I accidentally put him twice. He's already up in E.
Oh, okay. I was like, wait a minute. Yeah, I'm done with all these other guys. So tired of looking at Warren's chase and hoping for the best.
This is a pretty slope, but
yeah, I think we're super bottom heavy. I think we're really, really, really,
which is fine. Yeah, I mean, I think that's
we're
exactly how it should be.
gatekeeping the B tier and above for sure.
Yeah, that's true. I think you're right there. And I can't think of anyone that I would change tiers. That's what's left. I think I'm good with where we are on it.
Yeah. All right. So from a dynasty perspective, I'm not really going to fight for anybody else. I think this is it.
I'm going to save that
Derb.
one. Okay.
Yeah,
Did it correct it? What?
Oh,
No.
dynasty running back. Got it. I now understand what's happening. What is it? I'm like, what is a derb?
That's great. These derbs.
It's
all right.
Clearly been weeks since we've recorded.
Yeah. That's good.